And it could have been, which may be more egregious than that call late, is that they were playing on a fucking ice skating rink last night.
2 years, $800,000.
Yikes.
They flew that sod in from the sod father himself.
That's right.
To get it prepared for this Super Bowl. Now, do they do that for every Super Bowl? I don't know. Why'd they feel obligated to do it for this particular Super Bowl? Joe Pompliano, not to be confused with Joe Naro.
Right.
True.
Joe Pompliano reads the Doppler of business.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Tweets it.
Well said.
Locked in.
The NFL has spent 2 years preparing the grass for tonight's field at the Super Bowl. The grass was grown at a local sod farm in Phoenix. It was installed 2 weeks ago, and the field has been rolled out each morning for daily sunshine. Total cost $800,000. Now, when I saw $800,000, I was like, "Oh, cool! Every NFL team can do this thing."
Yeah,
sure.
That's what I just learned.
Simple.
I just learned that every NFL team can do this. $800,000. That's like one veteran contract that you will cut.
Sure.
No problem,
Right, no
guaranteeing
thought.
having to do it. And then being able to take the grass outside to take a walk, and get some sunshine. That's been happening at University of Phoenix Stadium, State Farm Stadium, everything like that since the beginning. It was terrible, though.
So bad.
It was grass field. Obviously, everybody loves that. They had a grass field in there before they brought in this new sod. But why was it so bad, I wonder? Why was it the worst turf of all time? I saw a lot of people switching cleats. I believe Jalen Hurts went from green J's to black J's. They put in some studs in there and got his cleats a little bit more heavy duty. But even the guys with the big cleats were slipping all over the place. That took away from the game a little bit. Now, granted, 38-35, 73 points scored. Offense was good. That wasn't what we were expecting at all from the field. You're right. But still had a pretty high-quality product of football.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And when you're talking about, the field in general, people were talking about the paint. Everyone's slipping on the paint. Well, if we're planning
That's
this
not true either.
it wasn't true. And also, why isn't the paint on, weeks ago? So that's not even a conversation. Who knows? But also, when you look at both teams, like the Eagles kind of did what we thought the Chiefs were going to do. They spun the ball all over the yard.
Yeah.
Hurts had 300 pass yards. Had no idea that was going to happen. And then you look at the Chiefs. Pacheco ran all over the Eagles. So it's kind of like the opposite sides for both of them. It was an unbelievable game. Tough to end that way, though.
Yeah, Reddit was talking about the conspiracy theorist in me. This is from Reddit. This is from Crimson Eagle 1. The conspiracy theorist in me says the NFL is doing this on purpose, as there are currently a lot of coaches and players that want the league to mandate every stadium use natural grass. This is the league's way of building an excuse to never have to do that. What are the pros and cons, says Advanced Dan, and Real Cool Dad out of Penn State goes, the pros played on the field. The cons sold the NFL this turf. Great line by Real Cool Dad.
Yep.
Shout out RCD.
It is cool.
Good.
Out of Penn State there. We are. Penn State, we are.
You got a lot of
Lighting
love.
up Reddit there. Absolutely incredible line. But that is something that people will think about because the grass turf was a massive conversation piece this year. So much so Bakhtiari and others led an entire revolt
Yeah.
because of the stats and analytics and how much players love that on their joints as opposed to this AstroTurf that is just sitting on top of concrete and just beating down their joints. Maybe the NFL said, "Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for."
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Maybe. Why not? Why wouldn't that happen? I have no idea. I don't know if the NFL wants a shit product in front of 150 million
not.
people, but certainly this is going to be brought up in the conversation of grass and turf for the next, 10 years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And the grass, thumpers did go back into their hole. They realized, okay, maybe there are some things that aren't great with, and there's the sod father. I mean, absolute dog. But next year we get to see what? The Matrix.
This fucker needs to take a hike.
He does.
Hey, pal, why don't you retire? Okay?
What happened?
Just like Walt Anderson, everybody.
What
He's an
happened,
old guy.
Sodfather?
He looks sweet. That's a
mean-
great name.
It is.
Good gimmick. And then whenever your product is
Bad.
bad,
Yeah. Worst it's possibly ever
How
been.
does grass even get like that?
it's wet. It had to be some sort of slickness. There had to be some sort of moisture in it.
And
we
not
were
enough
out there, like
not
it-
enough thickness. It wasn't. It was too thin.
Too thin and slick. I don't know. They needed to get Bermuda grass out there.
Obviously.
Or blue grass
Right,
out there.
Kentucky Blue.
Or, whichever grass they decided to go with, I guess sod, which is its own thing. I don't know how that whole thing goes. It seemed like it was slick, though, because whenever the studs came in, I forget who put their studs in, but they zoomed in. They were in the middle of grass, no paint, and you saw two studs stick in. And that was like a wet grass
Yes.
field.
Yep.
And Arizona, obviously, very dry.
I was going to say, do you think it's just from them over watering it? Or because you'd assume if they're rolling it out every day to get the sun, even if you're watering it a shit ton, like that the sun's soaking that up, and we were out there. There was no additional precipitation outside.
It's very dry.
It was super dry. Yeah, I mean, putting chapstick on every fucking 15 minutes, it was that dry.
What was wrong with the grass that they probably used all year long at Cardinals?
I don't know. Yeah, because everybody talks about how great that stadium is because the grass can go on a fucking walk
Yeah.
to get the sun and come back in.
Come on!
The sod father wanted to make something special for him.
Exactly. If the sod father is over, watering his grass, he ain't the fucking sod father. I mean, that is a rookie move. What are we talking about?
Yeah, can we not understand the amount of water that is needed for this grass
Yeah.
to perform perfectly? What's this grass supposed to do? Oh, host a football game.
Okay.
It's not just supposed to look as green as possible
Yeah.
for the optics and for the vision. It's supposed to be a perfect
Yes.
pitch.
Yep.
Yeah, Jake Elliott fucking falls on his face and still kicks a touchback.
Mm-hmm.
Dog.
Jalen Hurts on the end zone on the last play. He slips. He doesn't. I mean, there's a chance he gets it there. Who knows?
That would have been a 70-yard ball, maybe.
He squats
He's got
600
cannon.
pounds.
I mean, maybe, but he slips and everybody goes, Jalen, what a terrible throw. It's like, dude, this guy just threw for 300 yards, had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now we're going to mock him for slipping his foot out from underneath him. Now, when it is slick, you got to keep your base tight.
Yep.
And I do believe he overextended a little bit. If we're going to break down the nitty gritty and
Sure.
start judging for things, that seems like something he shouldn't have done. But the grass was, I mean, it was obviously a storyline.
Yeah.
The sod father. What the fuck happened with the grass, Ian? That was an embarrassment. That was an absolute embarrassment. Now there's conspiracies kicking up. The NFL did this on purpose because all the players wanted grass. So he said, be careful what you wish for, and put the worst grass of all time in the biggest moment of the Super Bowl. What took place? It seemed to be way too watered. Was that something? And how will this be accounted for going forward by the NFL?
Man, me and Pelissero talked to George Tomba before the game and tweeted about this to be his last Super Bowl, and what a respected man. Man, that tweet did not age well.
Happy.
Classic.
Hell of a run, Val.
George Tomo,
Great
love
run.
you.
Anyway,
Every once in a while you lose your
So-
fastball.
Yeah.
Even in the grass game.
Yeah.
That happens.
I mean, 94 years old. So here was the explanation I was
Really?
given on
Is
the-
that his actual age?
That's what he told me. 94.
Hang it up, bud.
Got a 94-year-old.
Why is that guy responsible for the field?
Come on.
What are we?
I don't want to
He's
be
the
an
sod
ageist.
father.
I don't want to be an ageist or anything like that because I think we do sound like that when we're talking about replay reviews.
Sure.
Let's get some young eyes that understand technology and can fast forward, slow mo, zoom in quicker than people that maybe didn't grow up with this.
94.
You got a 94-year-old doing the grass? What, dude? Guy can't even drive. He's in
move.
control of the grass.
bad idea.
What is the deal?
So here was
Every
what I was
single
told happened
Super
to the grass. So, obviously they play the first half. I think the first half was mostly fine, right?
No.
And then,
It-
well, it wasn't.
changed
The
the
second
tweet
half
for
was
the
worse.
second.
Let me say this. Second half was worse. So I'm going to screw this up because I'm not a grass expert like George Tillman. But basically,
Well,
the
he
halftime
lost.
show, which basically spanned the entire field, it compressed the grass, it heated it up, and it got it slick. So it basically increased the moisture in the grass because it didn't allow it to breathe because it pressed down on the grass.
Classic.
And then
You gotta be
you
kidding
take the halftime show off the grass, and it's kind of a little bit wetter. And in the third quarter, everybody was sliding around.
This is what we were talking about whenever we have to deal with the lighting people,
Yep.
the
Yes.
microphone people. You wouldn't understand this because you're not a grass person, but Rihanna does a performance.
Fair.
What do you want us to do? That's literally what they say to you.
Yeah.
There's been halftime performances every single year. Is this not something we should have accounted for with the sod father and the sod? Like, hey, maybe this should be able to withstand a fucking halftime performance that everybody's tuning into, and we're marketing 6 times in the first half. That Rihanna came out with her hair
Yeah.
in the silhouette with the Apple Music thing like 5 times during the first half. Isn't that something we should think ahead about, Ian? This is the biggest show in the world.
Ridiculous.
I wish I could go back and ask George Toma these things. We had such a lovely conversation.
We need to
I'm sure
take
he's a
him out
delightful
back.
man. His grass is
I'll
done.
tell you this. I will tell you this. This has been at various times this year, for not this reason, but for turf and injury reasons. Grass has been actually a big topic. I'm going to go to the owners' meeting in March. The competition committee is going to meet. I would bet they're going to have a real conversation about playing field, surface, grass, all of these things, because it's
Good
probably in focus more than I
Oh,
can remember.
that's
really.
interesting. Sodfather's last game is going to be the one that's going to start the conversation on whether or not the other stadium should have grass or not. Sodfather tips his cap and just goes into the abyss, never to be seen again.
Yep.
I don't like it, Ian.